Another piece of functionality that we want to add is the ability to create dice. So when you want to create a new variable of type dice, you need to construct an object. And to do that, we're going to use what's called a constructor. So if I go up here, and constructors are a method, but they're unique in the sense they do not have a return type. How about that? Not even void. So we do have functions that don't return anything that have a void return type, but constructors don't even have that. They don't have a void or any type of return type. The other thing about constructors is they have exactly the same name as the class itself. So if we're going to do a constructor, its name is going to be dice, and then it does have parentheses. All right, so this is a constructor. It has no return type, it has the same name as the class, and it has parentheses. So that's the constructor. And in fact, this is the default constructor because it has no parameters. And so how do you construct a new object of type dice that you don't send it any information? That's when this one will be called. Then we can also have a constructor that has parameters. So again, it still has the same name as the class. It has no return type and it has parentheses, but now it will have values. So, or parameters. So let's say that they want to be able to send the number of sides. So that's a parameter. It's like, okay, when we create this space, we want to be able to say how many sides there are. And so that's a piece of information that is sent when that object is first created. Okay, now notice this parameter number of sides and this member number of sides look exactly the same. This is going to cause confusion. And so one way that this is dealt with is with naming conventions. And we've had this naming convention that we name our variables using lowercase letters and underscores for multiple words. Well, for class data members, so these data members that belong to a class, a naming convention that makes them distinct from a standard variable is to end them with an underscore. So if I use both of those data members and now I put an underscore at the end of them, now the name that is used, the standard variable names that are used, are actually different than the data member names. And now we'll be able to be very clear about which one we're talking about. So this is a naming convention for data members by just having the data members end with an underscore. There's one more method that works with that is pretty standard with when you're defining classes, and that is a destructor. Notice that the constructors are called when you create a new object of this type. The destructor is called when the object is removed, okay? So when it's no longer part of the program. So the destructor also has no return type. It has the name of the class, but it has this little squiggly in front of it, and that's the destructor. So these are standard methods that are part of a class, constructors and a destructor. And by the way, there's only one destructor. You don't ever have the option to send parameters to the destructor. So there's only one of those, the default one. For constructors, you can have more than one, and they're just different by what information you send them.